Hello students, in this video we see how validation controls we can use inside our ASP.NET website. So I'm creating a new website. I'm selecting ASP.NET empty website and I'm giving here name to my website as my demo website 1. One empty website will be created here where there are no any single page inside this website. So see here, there are no any pages inside this website. So we need to add one web page by right click on your project name and selecting the add new option, web form. This is default name. I'm giving here a name as validation demo.aspx and I'm clicking on add. Now we see here validation demo, then I'm clicking on toolbox so I can add the controls on my page. So this is one simple single page which is empty here. Now validation. Inside this validation category there are some validation controls. This is the standard category and this is the validation. Inside validation category we may see some validation controls. Now what is the use of validation controls? As the name suggested, these are for checking the validations to avoid the invalid values entered by the user. We may use these validation controls. Now we will see one by one how these validation controls works. Now first one, this is the RequiredFieldValidator. Means inside one form, if we want some field values compulsory, if we want some mandatory fields, then we use this RequiredFieldValidator. Then there is one CompareValidator. We may see or you may see some registration fields are there or some sign up fields are there. On that sign up form there may be one field like enter password here, and again another field is like confirm password here, or enter or re-enter password here. So both the passwords need to be correct or need to be matched. So in that case we may use CompareValidator. If both the passwords will not be correct, then some error message we will provide. So in that case if we need to compare the values of another field and according to take action, then CompareValidator we may use. Then there is one RangeValidator. A RangeValidator means we may specify the range as mean value and max value, and if user gives the value out of range, then that particular error message will be shown on the screen. So in this way RangeValidator we can also use. Then apart from this some RegularExpressionValidator is here. By using RegularExpressionValidator we may check the proper email address is given or not, means format or pattern of email is fixed. So if the user given email address or phone number or maybe one code is there is inside or in correct format or not, then we may use RegularExpressionValidator there. Then apart from this we may use or we may create our own functions and we call it by using CustomValidator. Means we can enter the code or we can write the code inside our CustomValidator function and execute that particular function. So by using CustomValidator we can create our own customized validator functions. And for validation summary, this validation summary control is used to display and entire validation error messages at the same time. So for this you are not maybe understanding these points because I am explaining it theoretically. Now we will implement all these controls one by one so that you can clearly understand. So for this I am creating one form for each validation, and I need here one properties window. Properties window is here, and I'm giving the label text as validation demo. I'm giving here validation demo as name. Then I'm changing the design of it by changing the color and by changing the font size as extra large. So I am giving the bold effect. Then one by one we check the validations. Here I am giving one label as enter your name, and after that I want one text box. Then I am giving another field as, I'm giving the text as enter password and enter password here. Okay, again I am giving one text box here. Re-enter text property as re-enter or confirm password, CONFIRM, confirm password. Confirm password field I am taking here. Then for password I'm using here text box again. Now I am using here another label and text property as enter marks out of 20. So here we need to enter the marks out of 20 only. So validation keys out of 20 will not be accepted. Such type of validation we need to give. Now I am finally taking one submit button. Changing the text property of button as submit. Now for the password field I change for password field I am changing the text mode as password because I don't want to show the password whatever user type. So if I run this program without validation controls, we run this program and see what is the output. See the output. Here the output, enter your name. If I am not giving the name and if I am giving the wrong password here, this password and this password number of characters are not matching, and if I am giving here 56 and submit, then there is no any error message. Okay, I am not giving this control value or field value, then there will not be any error message displayed here. but I need here this field is mandatory field, so user needs to give the name value compulsory. Then this password and this password should be matched, and enter marks out of 20. In this, the valid range is only from 0 to 20. Out of range values I don't want to accept, so for this reason we may use validation controls. So one by one we add validation controls as required field validator I want here. Then password, for password there is CompareValidator. Then for marks, RangeValidator I want. Then before submitting, one validation summary we will take, but after some time we take this validation summary. Then required field validator. Click on required field validator. Required field validator means compulsory field. If we want the field values compulsorily, or some fields we need to give as a mandatory field, then this required field validator you may use. Here we need to change the error message as per your requirement. You may give the error message as this field is required. Okay, and I'm changing the color as it is error, so I'm giving here a red color. So this is required, this field is required. Then control, for which control I need to give this validation. So I need to give the property control to validate as textbox 1. If user enters the value inside this textbox 1, then this error message will not be displayed. But if user empty or will not enter anything inside this text box, then this message will be displayed. So my control to validate here is text box 1. I want this text box 1 value as mandatory. Okay, now for CompareValidator, I need to compare this value with this text box value. So I am changing the control to validate as textbox 3 and control to compare as textbox 2, because I am comparing this textbox value with this textbox 2 value, and I am giving the error message for this textbox. So control to validate as textbox 3 and control to compare is textbox 2. Now what is the error message? By default error message is CompareValidator, but I need to change it. Password does not match, or a password mismatch, like message you may give. Then I'm changing the color here as red. Password mismatch. Then here we need to give the RangeValidator error message as valid range is 0 to 20 only. Okay, this is my error message, and I'm changing the foreground color as red. And control to validate, here I'm giving as textbox 4. So inside textbox 4, if the range is not from 0 to 20, then my error message will come. But another some properties we need to give here: minimum value and maximum value. My maximum value is 20 and minimum value is 0. The user may give the values from 0 to 20, but not below 0 or above 20. Now the type of my values is we need to set as integer. because these are the numeric values, so we need